here we go. Welcome everybody to another show, another Ask AP live show. I am super excited about tonight. Come on in. Just waiting for some people to come on in. Thank you for the love already. I appreciate it. Tonight's show, I am excited about tonight's show. I am excited about this entire month as we talk about mental health awareness. If you did not know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I have some licensed professionals coming on the show all month long to talk about maintaining our mental health. A lot of us don't think that it's an issue or a problem, but it is, especially in the Black community. And I want to talk about it. A lot of us are going through things that no one knows about. We're battling stuff that no one knows about. And it's time to put this stuff on the flow because we need to be healthy, right? The pandemic had us shut down, shut in. A lot of us lost people. A lot of us were sick ourselves and we are recovering. And it took a toll on us mentally. You know, we're just kind of getting back into everyday life. And I think we need to talk about our mental health tonight. So this month is dedicated to Mental Health Awareness Month. I want to be healthy. I want you guys to be healthy. So tonight I have my girl Aja Burks. She is a licensed professional. She's going to talk to us about maintaining our mental health and keeping ourselves on track. So she's going to be on the show tonight. I'm super excited. I want you guys to come on in. I see some of my loyal watchers on here. A lot of Detroiters on here right now. I am just so excited that you guys come back every Wednesday. If there are some newbies here, welcome to Ask AP Live. I am excited to have you. I hope that tonight's show keeps you here and that you just keep coming back because I need you to come back. Tonight's sponsor is True Skin, and I need you guys to follow them. Actually, let me tag her in here. I'm going to pin her real quick. She spells it differently. It is the shirt, ain't it? True Skin. I think this is it. She gonna kill me if it ain't. And I spelled it wrong. I know I did. Come on in, y'all. We're going to get started in just a few. I have to tag my sponsor. She going to kill me if I spell this wrong. True Skin. I think this is right. She going to kill me if it ain't right. I love her. But she going to definitely kill me. Okay. True Skin is my sponsor. She specializes in all types of skincare. If you need a facial, just products, she has everything. So follow her on Instagram at True Skin. She is also in all of my posts. So I've tagged her. You can go into my story and click on there and you'll get all this great information from her. That's another part of my journey is skincare because it's so important. Just taking care of ourselves, period, is just super important. So follow my sponsor, True Skin. Aja will be on the show. Definitely is the shirt for me, Rain. Free juice is my brother. Free juice. Come on in, y'all. Hey, Savannah. Hey, KP. I see my girls in the building. These are my faithful watchers. They watch me every Wednesday. I don't know how they do it, but I'm glad that they do. Hey, y'all, I'm super excited to have y'all on the show tonight. If you're just now tuning in, we are in Mental Health Awareness Month. That is the entire month of May. So I am going to have licensed professionals all month on the show to help us get ourselves and keep ourselves together. You just never know what somebody is going through. So I wanted to provide a platform where you can kind of get that stuff out. And I do want you guys to talk and give me your feedback. If we're saying something, if I just mentioning something, please do not be shy. Comment. If you know somebody that is suffering with mental health issues, somebody that is suicidal, somebody that's depressed, please tell them to get on the show tonight. You do not want to miss this information. I had Aja on the show before. She is fantastic. And speaking of Aja, she is here. I am excited. I am excited. Aja is here. As soon as I said her name, she was just here. God is good like that. Here we go.
There we go.
Hey, Aja.
Hey, it's Aja.
Hey, why am I calling you Aja? Aja, why am I calling you
It
Aja?
happens. It happens.
No, it's Aja. You cannot have it on the show. I don't do that. I don't mess up people's names.
You got it. You've got it right. Gotten it right before. So.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm so sorry. I don't do that. I hate messing up people's names. If anybody knows anything about me, that is the biggest pet peeve ever. I hate that. Aja, that is your name. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. I am so happy and excited to have you back on the show. You were on the show last year. And I had another young lady that was on the show last year. I tried to get her back on the show because you two were like heavy hitters on the show. And so when I decided to bring back, to celebrate Mental Health Month, when I decided to bring it back again, you two were like the first two on my list. And I was so happy when you said that you could do it, but I was devastated because the other girl was like, I can't do it. And I was like, oh no, but no, it's okay because she is such a sweetheart that she got somebody else to come on the show. And I like that
great.
Because she's new and I like to have different people on the show, but I was just excited that she shared her contact. So again, Aja, so happy that you are on the show. We are going to get started. This is Mental Health Month. A lot of people did not know that May is Mental Health Month. And you are a licensed professional. You have been on the show before, and you just gave some great advice on us keeping ourselves together, getting ourselves together. It's been a crazy couple of years. A lot of us are trying, I know I am, trying to get back adjusted to like being outside more than usual, which feels weird. I am still wearing my mask. A lot of people are not wearing their mask, not your girl. Your girl wears her mask. So we're going to talk a little bit about your background. For those who did not see the show last time, I just want you to kind of introduce yourself to the audience and let them know who you are and how you kind of got into the mental health field.
Yeah. So I am Aja Burks, or Dr. Burks or Dr. Aja, whatever you would like to call me. I'm good with Aja too.
I like Doctor. We're gonna put some respect on your name.
Most of my clients call me Dr. Aja.
I like Dr. Aja.
I am a mental health therapist, and I have been in the field for over 10 years, which is weird to say now because I don't consider myself old, so I'm like 10 years, like, man, that's crazy. So but I've been in the field for over 10 years. I have a private practice, a group practice called Transformative Mind Counseling. It is trauma focused practice, but there's also we see individuals who have experienced lots of different things, so anxiety, depression, but a lot of our clients have experienced some form of trauma, and it's trauma how it's been identified by the client, not necessarily by us,
right?
So and that's what's really important to us. There's 9 clinicians that work in TMC, Transformative Mind, and it's we're in Southfield, but we currently are, because of COVID, we have most of our sessions are virtual, but we are slowly moving back to being in person too. So, so there are some options there. I have been Well, let's see. Your question was, how did I get into this field?
Yeah,
So,
what made you get into the mental health? Because we don't see too many, young black people or young black women wanting to be, wanting to be in the mental. Because it's to be honest, it's not something that we really think about. Because I don't feel like we really feel like our mental health is a thing, and it really is. So, what made you
mhm.
want, initially to get into the mental health field?
Yeah, interestingly enough, I got curious about it. I didn't know anything about counseling, but
Mm-hmm.
I got curious about it because my aunt had a diagnosis of schizophrenia
Mm-hmm.
when I was 16. Or I found out she had it prior to me being 16, but um, I was just really curious. I didn't understand it until I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And so I became really, really curious. So it was more so because of severe mental illness that I became intrigued by the brain. And so I went into psychology, not knowing anything about counseling, because what I knew of counseling was school counselor
Mm-hmm.
who helps you with
Right.
your transcripts and your grades. I didn't know
Right.
anything about mental health or anything like that. And it wasn't until I got my bachelor's in psychology, and at the time, and they might still be saying this, but at the time they were saying, if you get your bachelor's in psychology, you're gonna have to go straight to grad school because you're not gonna get a job in psychology.
Right.
so so I started doing some research and kind of looking up like what would be next for me and things. And so that is kind of how it got started. It was just kind of like me just kind of testing things out and then
Mm-hmm.
talking to my mentor at the time who had suggested some different avenues, and I decided to go on social work, and then I moved into counseling, a counseling degree. So yeah, that's kind of how it started. It was just kind of like I was really, really intrigued by my aunt
Yeah.
and how for her specifically, she was having auditory and visual hallucinations,
Mm.
and I was really, really curious about it. But my family also, they don't think about health in that way. They knew the
Yeah.
diagnosis, but they're just like, that's just your aunt. And I was just like, no, it's more than that. Something else is here.
Yeah.
So that's really how I got involved.
So you talked a little bit about you briefly touched on that, and I think this is a big thing too about um because of COVID, you guys had to transition to virtual counseling.
Hmm.
And a lot of us have been transitioning into virtual. Like our meetings are on Zoom, some of us are doing, working from home, just all of that different type of stuff due to COVID. Um, how effective is virtual counseling? Compared to the in-person counseling. I think a lot of us, especially somebody like me, I am an in-person type of person. Like I like to be around people. Especially if something so, something like that. I don't know how well I would do doing it virtually. Um, and that's kind of how my show got birthed because we were in the house and I was like, I gotta find a way to do my show. I can't do it in person. I have to do it virtually, and it's been working for me. So, what's the difference, or is it a difference between doing a virtual? Because this is different. Me talking to you now, but you actually doing counseling virtually versus in person. Is it just as effective?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Yeah.
It is. I think that it does depend on the person and
Okay.
what they feel like they might prefer.
Hmm.
But I wouldn't discount being virtual over being in person.
Okay.
I think that the one thing that I feel like is sometimes that people feel like is missing is that energy when you're in the
Yeah.
room. So like feeding
Absolutely.
off of someone else's energy. I do feel like sometimes you can get that, especially depending on how connected you are to being in the space with your therapist. You can feel that energy virtually. The other thing that I feel like is a little bit more challenging is your space.
Mm.
So when you're in person, you can go into the office and you're in your therapist space.
Yeah.
But when you're virtual, sometimes it might be hard to create your therapeutic space depending on, the things around you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think that that's the other challenge that some people have. But if you can create an atmosphere that is calming, um, or a space that's calming where you just feel comfortable, then and you're just really focused in on your session, then you won't have and not have any distractions, then you can
Yeah.
have um a really, really good session.
Absolutely. I think we talked a little bit about I just kind of want to just segue a little bit because we're still in COVID, not as bad, but it's still very
It's
relevant.
okay.
And a lot of people lost a lot of people suffered from COVID. They were sick themselves. They made it through, thank God. But a lot of people lost a lot, family members, friends, things like that, due to COVID. Um, how I guess I want you to just talk a little bit about how, or maybe some things that that they can navigate through those feelings. You know what I mean? Of, depression and just not knowing, how to kind of take in those things, especially losing someone, which is very, very difficult. Um,
Hmm.
Give us some tips on how to kind of just navigate through those feelings of losing a loved one mentally.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think the first thing is to be completely honest with
Yeah.
yourself. Without that honesty, it can become challenging, and there's a lot of denial and a lot of just really just not trying to see where you really are.
Yeah.
Uh, if you're not being honest with yourself. So I think the first thing is to be honest with yourself and about how things are actually affecting you,
Hmm.
or how it's impacting you. And then also being completely aware of how you're navigating, how you're stepping up, right? So if you know how you typically um, walk around, do life, and you're doing it a little bit differently
Yeah, a lot
than usual.
differently. Right.
Right. Then it's like, you need to check in and saying something's not right here,
Hmm.
and I need some support in really trying to figure it out. And that support can be in a way of therapists who, especially someone who's like who is certified or practices or works with grief. But also, you might have family that might be able to be in lieu of that until you find that person. And I mean family in a sense of someone who's supportive in your journey, in your walk, not someone who is not going to be supportive in your process.
Right.
So having that honesty, just being upfront and honest with yourself about where you are and how you're experiencing it. The other thing is just knowing what grief is. Grief is something that is it's an ongoing process. It's
Yes,
not
it
something that
is.
ends.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to go through phases. You might be in one phase and then it might adjust into something else as time goes on. And that's okay. Like that's a part of the process. And you have to go through a process to kind of get towards um, a, a place in your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so just knowing that you're going to go through a process and that is okay, and it's valid
Yeah.
because you're going through something. The other thing that I like to say about grief is because you have love for someone and
Absolutely.
you've lost someone you've loved. And so of course you're going to have some sort of feeling that's connected to it, in relation to grief because of how much you loved this person. And so because of that, honor it, honor the love that you have by honoring yourself
Mm-hmm.
and allowing yourself to go through that process, whatever that may look like.
Yeah. I think I think a lot of us, I know me, we try to suppress those feelings because we just want to move forward. And we don't even know what forward really looks like. We just don't want to
Mhm.
be where we are. So we try to do everything but what you said. And that's kind of going through the process. I'm just going to share this a little bit. I think I shared this with you before. I don't know if I talked to you before I lost my brother. Did you know I lost my brother? Did I talk to you before I lost him?
I
Okay,
don't think so.
I think I talked to you after I lost my sister, but I lost two
Mm-hmm.
siblings pretty much back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my sister passed away in November of 2019, and my brother just passed away last year in March. And I think I took my brother's death way harder than my sister because I did not I did not give myself a chance to grieve her. I just kept moving on. Um, and when my brother passed away, it was just like I I completely shut down. Like I had no choice but to grieve at that point. And I was like, I should have taken the time with her so that whatever was next, even though I did not expect my brother to pass away, but whatever was next, I wouldn't have taken it so hard. And death
Mm-hmm.
is never that's not my strong suit. I don't do well with it at all. Um
Yeah.
and I found myself I have never known myself to be depressed or to get depressed or even like depression would even bother me or you know have any place in my life, but I started to sink into a depression and I started to realize that I was depressed. And so I kind of want you to just talk a little bit about what depression looks like because I know it's not the same for all of us. For me, it took
Yeah.
like those two big blows for me. And maybe I was depressed before and I just didn't recognize it. Can you give us maybe some signs of what depression looks like? Or, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it was different for me. I didn't even realize I was depressed. But, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just give us some signs of what depression looks like because I believe that a lot of us suffer from depression and we don't even know it.
Yeah. We're used to just
Just
moving through life and not
just
really
going.
considering thinking.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So depression can look, like you said, depression can look very, very different between people.
Yeah.
And part of that can be sadness, like it can be little sadness, but it can also be big sadness, like
Mm-hmm.
extreme sadness, which might be tearful. But also sadness can look like irritation.
Ooh.
And, just a real quick to snap off on
Oh
somebody, right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
That can be depression. Um, or anger.
Mm.
That's because their anger is kind of like the what you see, but there's underneath it, it's this deep rooted sadness
Mm-hmm.
or depression that's there. So it might look like anger as well. So irritation and anger,
Mm-hmm.
that can be a sign of it. Also lethargic, like you're just really, really tired and really, really exhausted. You don't have energy to
Mm-hmm.
do the things that you normally would do. um, that could also be a sign of depression. Also, when you're thinking about like there's sadness and then there's extreme sadness. So like
Mm-hmm.
thinking about I've been in this funk for over 2 weeks,
Mm.
right? That's when you're thinking about okay, maybe there's some depression there. If I'm in that for like a day or two, it's not to say that I'm not depressed, but it may not necessarily mean I have depression, right?
Right. Right. It makes
So
sense.
so long like it's been here, you've been having it for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
It also for some people may look like I'm not eating
That's a good
or
point.
my I don't have an appetite.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people it might look like I have more of an appetite than I usually do.
Yeah.
uh, those can also be signs. And so I think one of the things to really consider when you're thinking about is this depression or is this not depression is thinking about where you are usually. What is typically your mood? What is typically how you're navigating your world? Um, and then kind of thinking about the things that I was just naming and seeing how your body is responding to that. the lethargic, the eating, the snapping, the quickness
Yeah.
to irritation, the extreme sadness, the thought process of things kind of having more of like a doom
Mm-hmm.
or like a negative outlook on situations, not really being able to see the light or see the positive in scenarios. That could also be a part of that process. And this is more so like thinking about how I'm navigating, right? My awareness of things.
Right.
So yeah, so that could be a few signs.
For those who are like just joining, I see some people that are coming in, just joining. Explain, a lot of people don't really know what mental health is. Can you explain, like, in definition and just in your expertise, what mental health is? Because I want people to really understand what it is and what we're talking about.
Yeah. So mental health is the health of your brain, the health of your body, your mind, body, and spirit, right?
Right.
So, a lot of, so as much as you check your physical health and wellness, you want to check your mental health and
Yes.
wellness too. So really, when you're thinking about mental health, is really like, how's my mind, how's my brain functioning?
Mm-hmm.
How's my mood and my emotions functioning? How well am I navigating scenarios and situations as they are occurring to me? Thinking about it in that way, thinking about your body. We do have physical responses to for mental health. And so sometimes we have to think about that too. Sometimes we have to kind of I don't want to say rule out. Rule out is a term that we use in the in the field, but kind of
Right.
have to think about, like, medically, is this something that's going on, or am I having this reaction because of my mental well-being?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to think about it in those terminologies. This is your health, your well-being,
Yeah.
and this is about your your emotional state and your brain and how your brain is working.
And mental health is just as important as your physical health. Because once
Just as
because
important.
once this thing go bad here, it's all going downhill. Like once your
Mm-hmm.
mind gets bad, it all everything else just kind of falls in place. And
Yeah.
it's very, very important that
And I
we
like to think about it as like your physical, like you were saying, your mental health is just as important as your physical health,
absolutely.
but your they work together.
Mm-hmm.
They work side by side.
Mm-hmm.
So if your physical health is dwindling down or shifted or changed in some way, that has a potential to impact your mental health.
Yeah.
If your mental health is shifting in some way, that has the potential to impact your physical health.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think about both of them, and you can't think about one without the other. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. And so thinking about all of that, checking in with yourself, making sure you're doing specific things to maintain some positive aspects, or your typical positive health, I should say. That's going to be very important.
Absolutely. Give us some tips, Doc, um, on how we can keep our mental health in check. Some things that we can do or don't do. A lot of us don't do things that some of us know these things, but sometimes we need somebody to tell us things that we can stay away from, things that we can kind of maybe add into our daily routine. Just
Mm-hmm.
just give us a few little things. Most of us probably know all this already, but help us. That's why you are here. Help us, Doc. We need help. Help us.
So for the ones who already know, I would say follow through, right?
Exactly.
So follow through on those things. But but for those who are just really trying to figure it out, I would say really, really know yourself. Really, really have that self-awareness. You got to know yourself to
Yeah.
know when things are a little off. And I think it's important to know your body. And so, like, for instance, I'll give an example of like this past couple of days, I just felt off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I don't know what it is, but I just feel off. So then that means I need to like check in with
Yeah.
myself. What's happening? What my I noticed that I'm being a little bit more negative or
Mm,
punitive
that's
than
good.
usual. So I need to check in with myself. Maybe my check-in might, or the check-in might look different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's check-in might be, I need to journal. I need to write this out, or I need to talk it out. Maybe my journal is a voice recording, so I can just verbally get it out and say it that way. Um, Maybe I need to go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to move my body. Maybe I need, like, the energy is inside my body and it's holding, and so I need to move and get it out. Um, I think it's also important to think about what we're consuming, because that also impacts our energy level and it
Absolutely.
also impacts our mood. And so we have to be really mindful of that as well. Um, and in many cases, the way that we might be responding to certain things in our life can also impact how our nervous system is interacting, which then impacts our mood
Right.
as well. So we have to be really mindful of those things. And so with that, um, we want to kind of really think about the company we hold,
Ooh.
and
You
what brings us, what fills us and what doesn't fill us.
you are every time I ask you something, you're always leading into the next question. Finish, because we there now. I was going there. Who we have around us is a good one. Talk a little bit about that. I want it. Go ahead. Talk about that. I'll get to my point in a minute. That's perfect.
Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily, and what I mean by that is you want to be surrounded by things um, that bring you joy. And the reason why I'm
Absolutely.
saying that is because the world that we live in is not going to always bring you joy. So
That's
to be
right.
surrounded by things that are supporting you through times that it might be a little bit more challenging
Right.
is going to be very, very beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when we, especially, it's just, I mean, we're already stressed, right? So to have
Pretty
added
much.
stress, it doesn't necessarily have to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we don't need it. In addition to that, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to cut people out of your life, right? It just means that you are creating boundaries in a way that that sustains you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So there might be some people you do have to cut out. I'm not saying don't for
Some,
everyone. You're
some
just
people
gonna
got
have to do an evaluation of your of your
so
list.
that's right. Some people got
um, right. So you can't, but you might have to put some boundaries in place of things that are going to actually bring you joy. When you start moving differently, the things around you are going to look different,
mm-hmm.
and people are going to see you differently, and they're not going to like it because you're moving differently than how you were, right? You're changing. And so with the change, that also means that there might be some individuals who either stay or there's some that don't. And we have to kind of go through that process, because that's also a grieving process too,
It
of thinking like
is.
maybe someone was for us and we're realizing they're actually not, because we're going through our own process. And it's
Wow.
okay to grieve that,
That's
and
good.
then also keep moving on your journey.
I want that's so good because removing people from your life and that's crazy because I never thought about it like that. But now that you say that, you do grieve. That is a form of grieving when when you stop dealing with somebody. You know what I'm saying? When you
Mm-hmm.
are, not in that space with them anymore. When you decide like I can't, me and you not rocking like that no more. You do grieve them, and I've grieved people that I was like, yeah, it's not working no more. I can't. Not even in a like even in friendships. Like you grieve friendships that you're not in anymore. You may
Mm-hmm.
grieve a breakup or something of that. Talk a little bit about doing that in a healthy way though. Like what does
Yeah.
that look like? Because um some of us have been knowing people for a very long time, and we've had
Mm-hmm.
friendships that have been 10 plus years, and now, they're different, we're different. People have went through breakups, divorces, you've been with somebody all of your life, and then all of a sudden you guys are not on the same page anymore, and you're not together. How do we do that in a healthy way? Or is there a such thing as us doing that in a healthy way?
I think it's more so like doing it in the way that is the most positive for your body.
Yeah.
Thinking of it that way, because because positive it's going to look different for everyone. We're not the same. So, it's going to look different. But I think that it's important to, well, one of the things is like considering the people that we have in our life, these are all relationships. Absolutely. And we have varying degrees of closeness to those bonds or relationships and bonds that we have with them, which also increases the amount of love that we have. And if we've been around, we've had relationships for years, then that just creates more of that bond that you have with that person. So when things start to shift, then you're going to go through a grief process. And with that, to your question, is making sure that you're aware that this is shifting and I'm sad about it. Yeah. Even though this person might have been trash, I'm realizing like they weren't really for me.
Right.
It's still a grief. Like I'm still sad about that. Dang, I really thought we were cool, where I really thought this was a good space. And it's not. And so we have to kind of we have to go through that process and be real with ourselves and saying, this is not what I thought it was. It's not a trick. No one's trying to trick you or anything like that. It's just kind of like, this is just what happened. The life has shifted. Life has shifted our trajectories to very different ways. It doesn't necessarily mean that I hate this person or anything, or that I don't have to hate this person. It's just, I have to go through my own thing. So with that, it's thinking about their relationship, thinking about what it meant to you, thinking about the parts that did not bring you joy, and the parts that did bring you joy, because that's the part that you're grieving.
Right.
And really thinking about the things that did bring you joy, and maybe there are other individuals in your life or that are coming into your life that will fill that same space. Maybe it might look differently, but it will fill that same space. So, it's not going to be like this person is exactly like this person. We don't want that.
Yeah, we definitely don't want that.
This person brought this to me, right? And this made me feel this way. And we had a reciprocal relationship in this way. And I liked that. And so the next person or the other individuals who are in my life, maybe they have that with them too. And that, because that's the thing that I had noticed or realized really brings me joy in my relationships with other people.
Yeah.
So finding what that means, finding the meaning out of it for you in regards to like what relationships mean for you.
And like you said in the beginning, really just being honest. I guess that's what it really boils down to. And I do believe a lot of us, and I'm guilty of it, are just not sometimes honest with ourselves about where we are, and knowing what we can and cannot handle in whatever season that we may be in. Sometimes we just feel like we're missing out on something, or we feel like we need to be, or we should be more ahead than we are. And I just believe just the Black community, I don't really think that we take our mental health seriously. And I really started taking it seriously once my brother passed away. Like, I was like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? And I can honestly say that to you and everybody that's watching. Mental health was never that was never something that I thought about. I'm always the one like, I'm straight, I'm good, like I'm okay. And then that happened, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm really not okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. And wanting to speak to somebody, talk a little bit about that too. I think that you can definitely help in this area. For those of us that may be kind of conflicted about wanting to talk to somebody, because a lot of us, we don't like to talk to people about how we feel or what's going on. Some of us and most of us don't feel comfortable talking to a family member or a friend, because a lot of times your family member or your friend, they're gonna tell you what you want to hear. They're gonna like pat you on your
Right.
back and try to make you feel good. When we really need somebody that's like, listen, that right there, like you have to stop that. So
Mm-hmm.
um just talk to just briefly about you know that it's okay to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? You're a doctor.
Yeah.
You went to school
Mm-hmm.
for this. You specialize in this. You've been doing this for over 10 years. You have the experience and the knowledge of helping people. That's what you do. Just talk to us a little bit about that it's okay. I guess
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That it's okay to speak to a licensed professional.
Mm-hmm. I think that when someone is at the point where they're saying they can't talk to someone, that is a great time to consider
Yeah.
it. Consider talking to someone,
Yeah.
or consider talking to a therapist, or counselor, because it's just challenging. And in our role as a counselor or therapist, we are not we don't have that connection like you were saying as family does.
Mm-hmm.
And you come in with a goal, and our focus is the goal,
Absolutely.
right? Is the goal that you set for yourself. And then as you know, as we're talking and navigating things, some things might come out of that, and then goals might shift, and that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
But just kind of like allowing yourself to be in the space. It's okay to also start therapy and feel like you're not really sure about it,
Mm-hmm.
but just showing up. I think it takes a lot of courage to go to a therapist.
Absolutely.
And so just allowing yourself to just take steps. And in many cases, a lot of therapists meet you where you are. They're
Mm-hmm.
not forcing things on you. Um so it's just kind of keeping that in mind, that it's okay. We're here for you.
Right.
We want to be here for you.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to do anything damaging because we don't want to lose our license. So we are here for you. We are here for you. We are bounded by some really strong rules and ethics, and that's important to us. And so really keep that in mind. Also, find the person that you feel is going to be right for you.
Mm-hmm.
Who work The person who works for your friend might not be the person that works for you, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So go to someone, give them a try, like really try. You got to try, because if you're
Mm-hmm.
not trying, then you're not going to get anything out of it. But give it a try, and then if it just does not feel like a fit, it doesn't feel like a fit, and you can start over. Remember, it's about you and your process and your journey. And that person, that therapist, is wanting to find that person for you. So if it's not a good fit and you're like, this isn't working, then like, you know what, maybe there's someone else that will be a good fit
Mm-hmm.
for you. And here are some options as well. So just finding that person, and also being very open to the process.
Right. Right.
You
So
don't know what's going to come out of it.
you don't. Yeah. And you owe it to yourself, especially if like, I'm going through something. I really need to talk to somebody. Because I would hate for it to go another way. You know what I'm saying? When you're feeling like you need to talk to somebody, because suicide is definitely real. We see it every day. We see it all the time. We never think it can happen to us. We never think that it can happen to someone that we love. And so before it gets that far, um, you know, if anybody's looking at the show right now, that is having those thoughts, or know someone that's having those thoughts, there are people like Asia, that you guys can reach out to, and get that help that you need. Like, that's what you are here for. That's what you do. And so if
Yeah.
someone wants to get in contact with you, Asia, if they want to schedule a visit, how would they be able to do that with you?
So unfortunately, it wouldn't be with me. It would be with someone in my practice because I have moved more into like the business aspect of
Well,
it
y'all all
than
smart. We
the
trust
team.
you.
But all of them are great. All of them are great. But at my practice, transformative mindcounseling.com. I don't know. I saw a spin. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So my website is transformativemindcounseling.com.
Mm-hmm.
We're also on Instagram as TM Counseling, as well. And that is where you can go on our website. You can see all of the therapists that are there. We also we accept Blue Cross and Blue Care Network insurance. And we also have a low cost services because we have interns that are also being seen, or that are also seeing clients as
Oh
well. So
wow,
those are
that's
$20
dope.
sessions.
That's dope.
Yeah. So if you are, even if you're, let's say you're just trying to figure it out, right? Like,
Right.
I'm not sure. I just want to like give myself the summer to really figure it out and see if maybe I do want to dive into this more. The sessions are $20 and you can see someone consistently for that period of time, um, as well. So we do have that as an option. We also have private pay, sliding scale fees too, if you want to see a licensed person.
See, y'all, $20. You can see somebody. That's what you'll spend on dinner or something that I ain't gonna name other stuff that you don't need that you would spend that $20.
Or Grubhub or DoorDash, because
Right.
that's I
Exactly. You know,
I see that my bill sometimes. I'll be like, oh, that was
right,
$35.
right. Get the help that you need, people. Asia is awesome. She has connections. She has a whole counseling. That's what she do. So I'm grateful and I'm so appreciative that you took the time out to be on the show tonight to help us. Girl, you have helped us. Okay. I have notes galore. Okay. That's what I was on here doing. You have helped us. I so appreciate you, Asia, for coming on the show. You always, if I reach out to
Yeah.
you, you are always spot on. Asia is not one of those people. Asia talk back. That's what I like. Okay, talk back. And
Yeah.
I appreciate your time and the fact that you are doing what you do. My hats are off to you. Mental Health Awareness Month is all about you guys and you guys also and how you help us and you've helped us tonight. So thank you so much.
Of course.
And I am going to post your I think you have it on your Instagram already. I'm going to post your counseling and so people can see it after the show.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you so much.
No problem. No problem at all. I always enjoy talking to you. So
Yes, I always learn so much after we're done. Like I'm like, ooh, this is a lot. I gotta take this in. But I'm so appreciative. Thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. I pray that you got something. You can share this video. The playback will be up in just a few minutes and you can share it. And I just hope that somebody that may have came in the show one way and feeling one way, I hope you guys leave a total different way and with a different mindset because that's what this show is about. Thank you so much, Asia, again, and I really, really hope to talk to you
you're
soon.
welcome. Yes, talk to you soon. Thank you
You're
everyone for tuning
welcome.
in.
Bye.
Bye.